Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of the show. I am your host, Tyson. As you can see, I am riding solo tonight. Harry had some things he had to take care of, so the show must go on, so we're going to do it solo. Coming up in today's show, we have Raw as a review, we have SmackDown as a review, we got some stories, AEW, uh, I don't know. We'll talk about it. We got a werewolf debut. We got some sickos debut. It's going to have a lot of fun. So sit back, grab your drink. I got in my bottle here. We got some water. Ah, that's some high quality H2O. And we're going to get into it. Let me get my. It's going to be a little bit of a different show, as you can already see. Harry does the graphics and stuff. I didn't get those done today, but that's okay. You just get to see me. I don't know what I'm doing. Uh-oh. Hold on. What's going on? My computer's frozen. Okay, here we go. That was weird. Look at me. We got some technical difficulties already. This happens when you go solo, I guess. But let's get into the first part of it, Monday Night Raw. And we start out with the normal the new Monday Night Raw the new WWE graphic, and it slowly starts to flicker because they're already telling us that the Wyatt Six is here. And if you've been following along, they've been teasing this, and it finally tonight is supposedly the night. So we already start off Raw pretty hot with that. And then we see Drew McIntyre. He's pissed. He's walking to the arena, and we go to the opening of Monday Night Raw. Everybody's like, "Oh, we're about to see Drew McIntyre walk out." Then all of a sudden, burn it down! To the surprise of everybody, Seth Rollins makes his return to Monday Night Raw. Now uh, this is his first time back from Monday Night Raw since his injury. We haven't seen him since WrestleMania, since he lost the title to Damian Priest. So it's always good to see Seth Rollins back. He's earned some respect out of me from what he did for WrestleMania weekend. So good to see Seth Rollins. He comes out, talks about that he needs to earn his title back. And to do so, he's going to go through the Money in the Bank. And yeah, he plans to go through Money in the Bank, grab the briefcase, and get another title shot. Out comes Damian Priest. Damian Priest, he has his little stare down with Seth Rollins, and he says, "You know what, bruh? You don't have to worry about Money in the Bank. You want a title match? I'll give you one. I wanted to cash in my title on you, and you also WrestleMania. So if you want a shot, you got it." Seth Rollins, of course, accepts, and later on we find out that the match is made. So at Money in the Bank, it will be Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest. And I don't know where we're going with this. Now, there was some backlash the Twitter, on the Twitter machine, because everybody thought that Damian Priest versus Gunther wasn't necessarily a SummerSlam worthy match. So maybe they bring Seth Rollins back and they're going to do a um, title change. But if they do that, what happens to Gunther? Because I think Gunther's walking out at at SummerSlam as champion. So if you do the title switch, you're going to do it again. I don't know. On the other hand, maybe Damian Priest wins, maybe something happens, and we set up Seth Rollins' next feud, and Damian Priest walks out as champion, and then a month later he loses it to Gunther. There's different ways they can go with this, but I don't know. Or do we do Seth Rollins? He wins the title, and then he loses it a month later to Gunther, and then that gives you a SummerSlam level match. Seth Rollins, I don't know, gets a nothing title ring. I don't know what holding it for like a month is going to do for him, but we shall see where it goes. And when we make our predictions, I'll stamp that approval on it one way or another. That's called a tease. Next up. So that's the end of that segment. Next up, Chad Gable. This was recorded earlier in the evening. Chad Gable, he's running down Adam Pearce. He's there with his Alpha Academy. I guess the funniest part of it, he called Tozawa Mr. Every Day Off because Tozawa was not there at Clash at the Castle. He calls Maxine Little Bo Peep, calls Otis his number one failure. And he says, if it wasn't for them, I'd have my title. So he's asking Pierce to have another title match. Pierce says, you have to go to the back of the line. You got to. You've lost. You've had 5 title opportunities, so you must go to the back of the line. Chad Gable says, you know what? I'm an Olympian. It's not fair, but if that's what I got to do. To the back of the line I go. And he says, why don't you go ahead and find me an opponent for tonight so I can start my trek back to the top. Pierce says, you know what? I got just the opponent for you. So obviously we think it's either going to be Braun Breaker or Braun Strowman, and we would be right in that. So that was the previous, that was early in the night. So then we go to Chad Gable. He goes to the ring, and sure enough, it was Braun Strowman as his opponent. Braun Strowman obviously beats Chad Gable. So further down the card you go, I guess, and you can say it was kind of a squash because he didn't. It was pretty one-sided. Yeah, Chad Gable got some offense, but we'll just say it was pretty one-sided. Post-match, Chad Gable, he's upset that he's lost this match. Of course, he's blaming the Alpha Academy because it's anybody's fault but his own. And he calls Maxine Dupree, he calls Tozawa, he calls Otis into the ring. He tells Otis, get it right here. So, I'm sorry, he tells Tozawa, stand right here, stand right in front of me. And, he's berating Tozawa. And he's about to hit Tozawa. And in comes Maxine Dupree stepping in front of him. She's in a crutch. Also worth noting, she's wearing what can only be described as his pajamas. And yeah, and she was oiled up for some reason. She knows her worth. So she stands in between Gable and Tozawa. Tozawa, she doesn't allow Chad Gable to hit Tozawa. Now Chad Gable, he takes the crutch, he throws it out of the ring. Now she's hobbled because she doesn't have her crutch. And he tells her, you know what? You out of here. Kicks her out of the ring. As she's going to leave the ring, we're back to Gable staring down Tozawa. Otis is trying to help Maxine because he's chivalrous. And behind his back, Gable slaps Tozawa. Tozawa drops to the ground. But Otis, he hears the slap because it's just that loud. By the way, we're in Corpus Christi, so that's probably why you can hear the slap because it's not notoriously not a good crowd. That is. And Otis, he hears the slap. He turns around. He looks at Chad Gable. He looks at Giselle on the ground. And he's had enough. And he pushes Chad Gable. He just pushes him. Chad Gable falls to the ground. Now he's in the corner. No, please don't. And that was pretty much the end of the segment. Otis walks away. So I guess we have. I don't think that's the end. And I'm going to tell you why towards the end of the show. But that's the end of the segment. After this, we have a recap of the Dom and Liv situation. Pat McAfee's doing the patostrator, the little telestrator thing that he does, breaking down the key card, breaking down Finn Balor taking the key card, and then we go to after the preview that, or after the review, we go to Dominic Mysterio. He's sitting in the clubhouse. Judgment Day's talking, getting ready for each of their shits that they got to do. But Dom's frantically looking in the back. He's like, finally they ask, what are you looking for? And he says, my purple cow vest is missing. Have you seen it? And of course they haven't seen it. And we will get back to that cow vest later. Cow vest. We go to our next match. Oh, by the way, also in this segment, Damian Priest and Finn Balor, they're having a little chat with each other. And he says, Finn, you're going into this Money in the Bank. I know you're going to win it, but I need to know where your head's at. What's going to happen when you win Money in the Bank? And Finn Balor says, I always wanted to be champion, so I'm going to cash it in and become champion on Cody Rhodes. And then they both have a laugh. So a little bit of tension there teased, but I don't think Finn's going to win if I had a prediction. I think there's an outside chance that maybe we'll wait. No, we can do it now. So there's an outside chance that Chad Gable wins the Money in the Bank, and then he cashes in on Sami Zayn, and then that's his new title shot. Yeah, he's cashing in on a mid-card title, but we've already done that with Austin Theory, so the precedence is set. And also, since we're going to have Gunther as champion, we're going to have Cody Rhodes as champion. I don't see who Chad Gable would cash in on to become a world champion. And I don't think Chad Gable is going to become a world champion. Not yet, at least. So it would make most sense for him to cash in and become Intercontinental champion. But we shall see. We shall see. But we'll go on to the next match. Speaking of Money in the Bank, this one is Io Sky, Kiana James, Zelina Vega. Triple threat match. The winner of the match will get an entrant into the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't know. Io, as you would expect, wins this match. I don't think she's gonna repeat Money in the Bank winner, but she definitely qualifies for the match. The end of the match, it's Liv Morgan. She comes out wearing the purple cow vest that we talked about in the previous segment, and this distracts Zelina Vega for some reason, and that's enough to get Io the win. She pins Kiana James with the over the moonsault. So we're building Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega, I guess, at Money in the Bank, which I don't know. It's okay. She needs a title match, so this will give her her first title defense since winning it. Because people, are complaining that she's not defending the title enough. Oh, we need a fighting champion, which means she's got to defend it every week so we can get Liv Morgan versus, I would say Nikki Cross, but I don't think she's going to be defending titles against Nikki Cross anytime soon. Maxine Dupree, we got to get that Liv Morgan versus Maxine Dupree match because fighting champion. So yeah, but good for them, I guess. Probably a skippable match, if I'm being honest, but it's gonna happen. And Io Sky, she goes on to Money in the Bank. Next up, we get a recap of Braun Breaker destroying Ricochet, sending him to AEW land. And after that, we go straight to Sami Zayn. He comes out, talks about how he's moving on from Chad Gable, but it's hard to move on from the Alpha Academy because, they're kind of still in that Stockholm syndrome thing. But he said they'll wake up one day and they'll move on their own. But he lays down the challenge. Who wants to challenge me? And all of a sudden, oh, yeah, that's right, Braun Breaker enters frame, walks out there. He's staring down Sami Zayn, which was quite the picture. So now we see Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker couldn't be two different prototype wrestlers. You got Braun Breaker looking like a man. He's got like 3% body fat, jacked up, hits the ropes at 23 miles an hour. And you got Sami Zayn, who looks like he should be telling you, I don't know. He should be telling you what to take off on your taxes to save money. Oh, deductions. There you go. You get the deductions. Well, I see you could save money here if you just claim your dependents. That looks like Sami Zayn. Looks like he should be bagging my groceries. Anyway, just stark difference between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. But Sami Zayn is a hell of a wrestler, so there is that. So Braun Breaker, he says, you know what? You're giving out title shots? I want it. And before Sami Zayn can say anything else, out comes Mr. Sheamus, does his banger after banger after banger thing, and he says, you know what? I've been chasing this title. It's the one title that's eluded me. So if you're giving out title shots, I want one. Now, there's a little bit of a flaw here because Sheamus just lost to Ludwig Kaiser. So why is he getting a title match? Or why is he even, I don't know, in contention for a title match? Yeah, it's Sheamus, but he hasn't won much since he's been back. So a little bit of a thing there. But Braun Breaker, he's like, you know what? You're standing in my way. And you know what happens to people who stand in my way? Just ask Ricochet. He didn't say that, but just ask Ricochet. Ask that one jobber what happens when people get in my way. So it sets up a match later. Sheamus versus Braun Breaker. I guess you can say maybe it's a number one contender match. They didn't say that for sure, but I guess you can assume that. I actually think they're going to go with a fatal four-way match, but we can touch on that later. But yeah, we have a match set up later for Breaker and Sheamus. So you know that's going to be a hard-hitting match. Backstage, we have the women's tag team champions, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, the Unholy Union. They start talking things, and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark come into frame. They start talking things too. Said, hey, we beat you pretty handedly last week. We're going to come for those titles. Sure. Another skippable match, if I'm being honest. And another skippable match, Dragon Lee versus Carlito. And this is not because of Carlito. This is actually because Dragon Lee, because who cares about him? Sorry, not sorry. So Carlito wins this match. I don't know, nothing really outstanding here. The end of the match, we see, well, let's just say it was a cluster. So we had like Liv Morgan. She comes out. She's taunting Dom, who's out there with with the vest. Zelina Vega attacks Liv Morgan, and Braun Breaker comes out. I'm sorry, Braun Strowman comes out there, and through all this distraction, Carlito picks up the win. First win, I think, like first win singles for him, but he pins Dragon Lee. Again, who cares? We go on, and Chad Gable, he's in the back. He's upset with the Alpha Academy, and they're in the locker room. They're packing their things. Chad Gable's like, "What's going on? Where are you going?" Otis tells him that we're leaving. Leaving? You can't leave. Family doesn't leave. And Otis says, "We're done." And then Chad Gable, he says, "You know what? I'll tell you when you're done. You three, you're all expelled." So he kicks them out of the Alpha Academy. But again, I alluded to it, and I still stand by it. I think we're not done with it, and I'm going to tell you why later. Next up, we have Drew McIntyre. Now, as you remember, he got screwed in his hometown, Scotland, again, this time from CM Punk. And he goes out to the ring. He grabs a microphone. Crowd immediately starts chanting CM Punk. McIntyre, he says CM Punk. And he starts to look down. You can tell he's sad. Tries again. CM Punk. Still can't get it out. Gets a little choked up. And he says, "You know what? I can't do this. Screw this company. I quit." And drops the mic and he walks out. As he's walking out, you have Adam Pearce pleading with him. "No, just think about it. Just think about it." They walk through the curtain. "Don't do anything rash. Let's just go in my office. We could talk about it." McIntyre leaves. So we assume at this point on Monday Night Raw that McIntyre has quit. Now, we knew because they posted it on all the social medias that McIntyre definitely did not quit. In fact, he signed a new contract. So we knew this story was going somewhere. But we didn't know quite where it was going. Well, I kind of knew, but we just didn't know how long McIntyre was going to be out. But he came back pretty quick because, yeah. Next up, after the McIntyre segment, we have Kyrie Sane and Dakota Kai. This would be two members of Damage Control. They take on Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. And they lose to Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, who didn't even get an entrance. I guess if you want to say Lyra Valkyra was out there, so that kind of caused a distraction or something. I don't know. What are we doing with Damage Control? But EO tells us because she said afterwards they're complaining about the loss, and EO says Damage Control has to change, or I'm gonna change it myself. So EO is slowly flying off the rails. I don't know where we're going with this. Maybe Dakota Kai is on her way out of Damage Control. Maybe the whole group is out because they're just a bunch of losers anyway. So maybe that's what's happening. Maybe. So after this, we finally get that aforementioned Braun Breaker versus Sheamus match. Hard hitting affair, of course, as these two are killers, so they're going to beat the shit out of each other. And boy, did they. Now, there wasn't a winner here because Ludwig Kaiser, he jumps Sheamus at the end of the match. And now we have Sheamus getting beat up by Kaiser. He puts Kaiser's leg on the steps. As you know, the Kaiser move is to run around the ring and do the drop kick. So he puts Sheamus's leg on the steps to do this. And then we get an overhead shot. So Braun Breaker, I totally skipped it. Braun Breaker, he spears Sheamus on the outside of the ring, and now Kaiser is beating Sheamus. Braun Breaker's leaving the ringside, so he's at the ramp. Kaiser, he puts Sheamus's leg on the steps. He goes out of the ring. He starts running on one side of the ring, and then Braun Breaker, he's watching this, and then he just starts running on the other side of the ring. Let me use my. So we got Kaiser running this way. We got Sheamus running this way, both running around the ring. We got a drone shot overhead catching this whole thing. And before Kaiser can do the drop kick onto Sheamus, he gets speared by Breaker. And it was a hell of a shot. But yeah. So we have Breaker standing tall through all this. And I guess he's going to be they're really teasing the Breaker Sami Zayn thing. And if that is the match, Sami Zayn probably just go ahead and shine that title up so you can give it to Braun Breaker, because you ain't going to be holding it long. You ain't beating Breaker. Just not happening. After that, we go back to more Liv and Dom. So Liv is in the backstage area, just like post up on a wall. Dom finally finds her and he's like, "Hey, give me back my vest." Liv Morgan says, "You know what? You can have your vest. You just have to take it off me yourself." Oh, what a predicament for old Dom, huh? So Dominic, he's contemplating it because it is his vest, so he wants it back. Liv Morgan says, "Here, I'll help you," and she starts to unzip it. Dom, he's contemplating. He's like, I want the vest, so he starts to unzip it, and in walks. I don't know what Damian Priest was doing, but he walks in, catches this. "Dom, what are you doing?" So then he sends Dom back to the back, he sends Dom away, and then tells Liv Morgan, "Hey, just leave the guy alone. He doesn't want anything to do with you." Liv Morgan says, "I think he wants everything to do with me." And she walks away. Oh, Dom got his vest back, by the way, if you're hanging on that. She walks away, and then Damian Priest says, "Man, she's loco." So yeah, Liv Morgan is turning into the crazy chick. And if you saw the show last week, I know you didn't, but I said that Dom, Liv, this is turning into like the Obsession movie. So I think Liv Morgan is just going to be a crazy chick, and then Rhea Ripley, she's going to return and she's going to save Dom, because we thought it was going as Dom was just going to give in to Liv Morgan, but seemingly it's turning into Obsession, which is a good twist. After that, Karrion Kross is standing with Scarlett. They do a backstage little promo. Simply put, he just says that the New Day jumped him, or the New Day had the numbers advantage last week. So he's challenging either Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods to a one-on-one match next week. Just him and whoever, right? No, he's not going to bring his boys or anything. And he says, "You know what, Kofi? I hope it's you, because I know you like to leave Woods in the back." So we have that match to see next week. Just see. We go to our main event for Raw. The main event is Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, and Finn Balor. The winner qualifies for Money in the Bank. And we start out Jey Uso. He has his entrance thing. There's a new thing he does with his entrance where he comes out through the crowd and they do like the over the over the shoulder shot where you can see the crowd with the fireflies, which Jey Uso kind of gave back to the Wyatts. Anyway, yeah, you can see the shot and then the crowd's waving their hands. Cool scene, of course. And for the match, though, Dom's Dom, he comes out there, he screws Ray after he hits a 619 to get close to the win. But Dom screws him, and through all this, Jey Uso wins. He qualifies for Money in the Bank. He's actually the first male qualifier, and he may be the winner of Money in the Bank when it's all said and done. It's either between him or Chad Gable. Now, Chad Gable, next week, he has a match, and he'll have to go through Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Tall task for Mr. Gable. But maybe they're going to cancel each other out, Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, and then Gable's going to get a victory. I don't know. After Jey Uso wins, he's celebrating in the crowd. They're doing the hand thing. It's just me, Uso. He's going to be yeeting the bank. And suddenly, this is how we end Raw. The lights go out. And you hear the old Bray Wyatt Fiend light sound. So we know what's about to happen here. The lights go out section by section, and then they finally go all the way out. And then we pan over to the entrance, and there's that little, also, remember from Bray Wyatt, we got the door with the little light shining through. And the door opens. And then we have that familiar Bray Wyatt piano sound, but it's only like the first hit of the piano, so it's dun dun dun. I hope I'm setting up the picture good for you here. Through the lights, through the door, now there's smoke coming out. We crawl out, or we get a zoom in on the door, and you see this little figure crawling out. Well, not a little figure, but you see a figure crawling out. You see a female figure crawling out. And if I can paint a picture for you, if you've ever seen the movie The Ring, it was eerily similar to when that bitch crawled out of the TV. So this figure's crawling through the smoke, and she crawls her way over to the lantern that's sitting there. The Bray Wyatt lantern, of course. She gets over to the lantern. She stands up, and she points behind her. Now, at this point, what I thought was going to happen, because they kind of showed the door from a different angle. So now I'm thinking, okay, now everybody else is just going to do the same thing. But no, she points to the back. Cameraman goes through it. So now we got a POV, like we're watching Blair Witch. Cameraman, he goes back, goes through the curtain, and as he's walking back, we see a figure standing there with a rabbit head on. He has a sledgehammer that says help, and he's standing over a pile of bodies. Well, what the hell is happening here? We keep going through the back. So we've seen that scene. We keep going through the back. Oh, by the way, this was clearly Eric Rowan, Eric Redbeard. We keep going through the back. And there's someone sitting on a production crate. You got the lights like flickering and sparks are flying everywhere. You got this figure sitting on the production crate. More bodies. You can tell this was more than likely Dexter Lumis. It actually was Dexter Lumis. So we keep panning through the back, and now we're in the gorilla position. In the gorilla position, we see a third figure. I think he was wearing a pig's mask, if I recall. I don't know. I'm going to say it was a pig's mask. And this one, you would have to assume that it was Joe Gacy, but he's in gorilla. He's standing over a pile of bodies. One of those bodies was Chad Gable. Chad Gable looks like he was he was taken out, shot in the head. He's got like blood piling down from his temple, and now he's not dead. I know a lot of people are like, "Well, Chad Gable died," but he didn't die. As a matter of fact, he's going to be on Raw this week. So, yeah, that's happening. So, what happened to Chad Gable, we'll never know. But Chad Gable, he's there. That's like the only notable person in this whole massacre. Everybody else was local talent, or performance enhancement, as the reports have now found out. Twitter went crazy because we thought one of the people who was laid out was Gunther, but it was not. So the only notable person that got laid out was Chad Gable. But yeah, we see that scene, and then we point to the aisle, and in walks Uncle Howdy. And this, of course, is Bo Dallas, Bray's brother. Seems to have grown out dreads. He had one red dread. Oh, I said that without messing up. Look at me. Look at me. And Uncle Howdy, he walks out, and as you remember Uncle Howdy's walk, he's like, twisting his wrist. He's got that like swag to him. He walks out, and then all the other members start to follow him. They go out to the ringside through the curtain. You still got Nikki Cross there, standing there, like the freaky, I don't know, whatever she was. And they all stand there together. Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, he grabs the lantern. The crowd's chanting, "Holy shit!" They're eating this up. And he says, "We're here." And then he blows out the lantern, and that's how we end Raw. And boy, did we eat this up. We eat this up, and we eat it good. I really liked the segment. This is Bray Wyatt's legacy, and I think they did it right. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with this next, but yeah, as a debut, I don't think you can get much better than that. Now, some people were saying, "Oh, this is the best debut in history." Well, let's not go that far. It was a good debut, but that's a little much. But that's how we end Raw. And as we are going on to SmackDown, let's go ahead and do some shilling here. We are on our way to 500 subscribers. So if you can help us out with that, go ahead and hit the like button. I'm sorry, hit the subscribe button, hit a like button for the algorithm. That's going to push it out to more people. If you are interested in buying any new merchandise, like the Wyatt 6 merchandise, let me go ahead and show you that, because it is on WWE Shop. And we are affiliates, so next to the like button, you can go ahead and click the link, and it'll take you to the Shop WWE. Right now, they're doing free shipping on orders over $24. So you can go ahead and cop that Wyatt merch if you want. Show support to Mr. Bray Wyatt. Let's show you the merch here. Look at that, huh? This is your Wyatt 6. Oh, by the way, there's 6 SICK, but there's also 6 members. But you only said there were 5 members. Well, the 6th member is the spirit of Bray Wyatt, I would assume. But yeah, there's that. So link in the description if you want to go copy any of that merch, and that'll help us out on the channel. And we're gonna stop sharing that because we're going on to SmackDown. I'm gonna take a drink while you go ahead and hit the like button and all that stuff. All right, we're gonna run through SmackDown here. SmackDown, we start out with CM Punk because SmackDown is in Chicago. There was at some point on Raw, and I didn't go over it, but we're going over it now. Punk was announced that he was going to SmackDown. He was supposed to give us an update on his medical condition. So that's why we're at SmackDown. Oh, no, wait, before I do that, Chad Gable. I told you I was going to tell you about Chad Gable. So I think, because I said he was the only notable person that got attacked by the White Six. And I think he's going to use that to get the Alpha Academy back under his wing. You guys left me, and hold on. Sorry if you hear that alarm, but we're going to go through it. You guys left me, and if you didn't leave me, I wouldn't have gotten attacked. So this is your fault. That's why you don't leave family. That's what I think Chad Gable's going to use to get the Alpha Academy back in to help him. I think that's going to be his ploy. Anyway, there's that. So let's go to SmackDown. SmackDown, CM Punk. He starts the show out. He goes out there, and basically he's saying that, he was going to make Drew McIntyre's life a living hell, but he didn't think it was going to be that easy because Drew McIntyre quit. And it took him by surprise because, again, he thought he was going to make Drew McIntyre's life a living hell. Pretty fast in the segment, we go to Paul Heyman coming out, and we'll get that moment of CM Punk and Paul Heyman in the ring together, first time in Lord knows how long. Of course, that gets a holy shit chant from the Chicagoans, and Paul Heyman tells him that, we're driving in, and on the radio, they said that Chicago is CM Punk's town. And this pissed Solo Sikoa off because he wants every town to be his town. So I suggest that you get out of here, because if you don't, Solo Sikoa and his merry group of thugs, that being the Bloodline, they're going to come out here and it ain't going to be good for you, Punk. And as if on cue, out comes Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and they are coming out to address or to confront CM Punk. CM Punk, he asked Paul Heyman, "Hey, what was that favor that you wanted from me if I left?" Paul Heyman says, "Take me with you." Oh, you want me to take you with out of? So basically, Paul Heyman is asking for help right there in front of Solo Sikoa. And now you got these three. They're about to beat down 3-on-1 CM Punk. And out of nowhere, in slides Cody Rhodes. He's there to help CM Punk. He hands Punk a bat, so they each have bats, like sting bats. And the Bloodline back down. Cody Rhodes grabs a mic and he says, "You know what, Solo? I already beat one tribal chief, and I'm okay beating another one. Let's just go ahead and get this done now. You, me, tonight." Solo accepts, and that's how the segment ends. Cody Rhodes' music starts playing. Little cheeky whoa. And then, yeah, we fade to black on that. So we have set up Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes one-on-one. And like, whoa, how are they going to screw this one out? Because seemingly this is going to be the Money in the Bank match in some way. I don't know if it's going to be a multi-man match or if it's just going to be straight one-on-one. I don't know if Solo Sikoa A has done anything to earn a championship match or is ready for one. So we'll see how that goes. And if you got people complaining, oh, that's not a. The rumor mill says that Solo Sikoa is going to be the SummerSlam opponent for Cody Rhodes. Of course, people are like, that's not a SummerSlam match. We need someone bigger. Obviously, that would be Randy Orton, if I had a guess. And that would be a better match. And we know Randy Orton's not going to beat Cody Rhodes, but they've already teased that. So I think it'll be Randy Orton. And then, yeah, but I still don't know what we're doing with Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa for Money in the Bank. But I assume there's going to be some kind of match out of the two. But what happens when we move on? We go to Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. They're standing in the back. Jade Cargill says that they want their tag titles back, but you need to focus on Money in the Bank first. She's telling this to Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair says, yeah, we can go for the titles, but yeah, I need to focus on this Money in the Bank. She goes through the curtain. Jade Cargill says, I don't even need to tell you good luck because we know you're going to win. Boy, was she wrong because she did not win. Well, that's actually a little later. Before we get to the match, we have Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. They're talking to Cody Rhodes. Basically, they're telling Cody Rhodes, hey, are you sure you don't need help out there? Because, you know, the bloodline, they always have something up their sleeve. Cody Rhodes says, yeah, I got this. And I know they always got something up their sleeve, but I got it. Something I have to do. Now we go on to the first qualifying match for the women on SmackDown side, of course. We got Bianca Belair, Mi Chen, and Chelsea Green. Winner gets a slot in the Money in the Bank. And to my surprise, well, actually, I wasn't surprised about this, but Chelsea Green, they kind of replayed the same Clash at the Castle finish. So Bianca Belair, she hits a KOD on Michin, and then Chelsea Green throws Bianca Belair out of the ring, gets the pin off of the KOD from Bianca. And Chelsea Green is on her way to Money in the Bank. And I don't know. I could see her winning it. I would almost say that she should win it. You have her win it. She becomes champion. I don't know. It'd be a fun little thing. The other option would be Tiffany Stratton if she's found herself out of trouble, because as you know, she hasn't really been back on TV since the incident she had on social media. So maybe we still do Stratton. That was my front runner. Or maybe we go Chelsea Green. We got a 50-50 shot. I would say those are the two front runners, but we only have one of them qualifying so far. So we don't even know if Tiffany Stratton's going to be in Money in the Bank. Which I don't see why she wouldn't, but still don't know. After that, we go to a Bailey segment. She was watching on TV. She watched Chelsea Green get that victory. Blair Davenport walks in, and she said that she looks forward to cashing in the Money in the Bank that she wins on Bailey. Sure. Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman have some words. half of those words were fucked up due to some audio issues. So what he really said, we don't know. The gist of it is he wanted Paul Heyman to go tell the Tongans to make sure Kevin Owens and Randy Orton do not qualify for Money in the Bank. We get a backstage segment. We're talking to Grayson Waller. He says that we learn that Austin Theory is not there for the night. And Grayson Waller, he says he's going to qualify for Money in the Bank in honor of Austin Theory. Now, what's to note here is in this segment, they're standing in the back in front of the door that usually the 18 wheelers, they back up and then they open that little door, that like, I don't know, flimsy door, so that they can unload the truck and shit. So we hear a banging on the back of that door. No one really reacts to it. They just think, something hit the door. But soon after, the door starts to slowly rise up. And then as the door rises up, we see a shadowy figure standing there, a stoic figure, blue jeans, black tank top, and it's Drew McIntyre. And he's standing over a lame CM Punk. CM Punk is just laying there. He's bloodied. So we didn't actually see what he did, but we can only imagine from the bang and CM Punk laying there that door had something to do with it. And again, CM Punk is bloodied. McIntyre, he picks CM Punk up on his shoulders, fireman carry style. He walks from there out to the entrance ramp in front of the crowd. Again, they're in Chicago, so CM Punk, he's there bloodied in front of his home crowd. McIntyre throws him off his back. He kneels down, does the CM Punk gets clobber in time pose. He starts to rub the ground. And then he takes CM Punk's bracelet off his arm and puts it in his pocket. Don't know what that bracelet means. Obviously, it's something for Punk. So, interesting little thing there. So, McIntyre, he is unquit. He quit and then he unquit. He said, nah, McIntyre, he pulled the Wolf of Wall Street. He said, this feels like I'm taking no for an answer. So you know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. Wolf of Wall Street. So yeah, that's what he did. And yeah, so after he takes CM Punk's bracelet, out comes Nick Aldis and security. Nick Aldis shoves McIntyre. McIntyre shoves Nick Aldis back, and they get in each other's face. Nick Aldis is now pointing at McIntyre, and he says, "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Well, McIntyre doesn't work on SmackDown. And you see what they did there. McIntyre, he quit Monday Night Raw, so that gave him, the ability to show up on SmackDown because he's not a contracted talent. Now, on Monday, are they going to address that and re-sign McIntyre? We shall see. Are they going to address it? Oh, I mentioned security. I didn't mention it before, but we had more security there because they did plug the gap because on Monday Night Raw, the Wyatt Six came in and killed a bunch of people. So on SmackDown, we had heavy security because Nick Aldis said that shit ain't happening over here. So that's why so much security was there. But they didn't stop that from getting in the building. It would have been nice to see like McIntyre take out the whole security, and he could have. But that's how the segment goes. And then Punk gets stretchered out. They get the gurney. They take him into an ambulance. And then that's the last we see of Punk. So Punk As Kayla Braxton said, he is going to spend the night in the hospital. She actually said hospital. And yeah, that feud is heating up, if we shall say. I don't know where they do the first match. I would assume it's going to be SummerSlam if Punk is cleared and ready to come back. And I don't know who's going to win the match either. Like, I could see either one winning. Now, if they have like a series of match, they're going to trade wins and then they'll have their final blow off match. Who wins the feud? That's the question. Going to be interesting to see. But what these two men are doing is some great work. We go to a triple threat match. We got Mello, uh, Carmelo Hayes. I call him Mello. Randy Orton and Tama Tonga. Carmelo Hayes didn't even get an entrance. Tama Tonga got like half an entrance, and then Randy Orton got a full entrance. But that didn't matter because, as we heard from Solo previous, he did not want Randy Orton to qualify for Money in the Bank. And Tongaloa made sure that didn't happen. Tama Tonga also didn't win. So we have Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Samoans. They're all fighting each other. Randy Orton, through all this distraction, of course, as he's getting into the ring, he gets rolled up by Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is now qualified for Money in the Bank. He's not going to win it, so that turn over there. And I guess also to note, this makes the most sense. Carmelo Hayes being in the Money in the Bank, Money in the Bank suits him. It doesn't suit Orton, especially he's up there in age and he's had back problems, so a ladder match is probably not the best thing for him. And I don't even know if Tama Tonga is interested in titles. He's just interested in violence, so it makes sense that Carmelo Hayes wins this. But after that, we go to our LA Knight segment. LA Knight, he comes out to the ring. He says, "Hey, we're supposed to have a face off here tonight, me and Logan Paul. So Logan Paul wants you to come on out." Logan Paul, his music doesn't play. LA Knight's like, "Are we really doing this again? Like, I went to your house. I said you said you're gonna show up. We were supposed to do this face to face. You're not here again." Out comes Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar, he says, "You don't have to worry about Logan Paul because you have to worry about me, Santos Escobar." And we learn that next week it'll be Santos, it'll be LA Knight, and it'll be Logan Paul. The winner of that triple threat qualifies for Money in the Bank. So I can go ahead and spoil it. Santos will be qualifying for Money in the Bank because Logan Paul and LA Knight clearly are going to cancel each other out. And so yeah, they have this segment. LA Knight says that fine, he'll go on and win Money in the Bank. He kind of alludes that he'll cash in on the United States title. That'll be his way to get to Logan Paul. So again, we've set the precedent that we're gonna cash in on a mid card title, which wouldn't be a bad thing, I guess, because you're not beating. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a situation right now because of the champions who they are. Again, you're gonna have Gunther and Cody as champions, so I don't think beating them right now is going to be a thing. It's probably each of them are going to hold the title to WrestleMania, so mid card title is like where they would have to go. But yeah, Andrade. Oh no, Sorry, I skipped. So LA Knight and Santos Escobar, they get into a little brawl. LA Knight hits Santos with a BFT, blunt force trauma, and Logan LA Knight gets back on the microphone. He starts to talk more shit, and from behind comes Logan Paul. And as LA Knight turns around, wham! Gets dropped with one of those right hands from Logan Paul. And I still always like it how Logan Paul, once he knocks someone out, he's like, whoa! Like it invigorates him. So I always like how he does that. So yeah, he knocks out Logan Paul. Logan Paul, I'm sorry, he knocks out LA Knight, does Logan Paul. And that's how the segment ends. And then Logan Paul shows his phone and says something about that only took 30 minutes, which I did not get. I guess from the time he got to the arena to now, I don't know. But yeah, we got that match set up for next week. Should be interesting. But we have our next qualifier match for Money in the Bank. We got Andrade versus Grayson Waller versus Kevin Owens. Before the match, Kevin Owens gets attacked by the Tongans, so he's kind of out of the match for the most of it. It's essentially a one-on-one match. Kevin Owens makes his triumphant return towards the end of the match. He's hobbled on one leg, but that doesn't matter because he's still fighting off the Tongans, and he gets there was a move that took him out from Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller sets up for his little rolling stunner thing. He rolls into the ring. He gets caught in the message by Andrade. 1, 2, 3. Andrade has qualified for Money in the Bank. So our field so far for Money in the Bank, we have Andrade, we have Carmelo Hayes, we have Jey Uso, Yeet in the Bank. So far, clearly Jey Uso is going to be your front runner. But we'll see who else gets added to the fields. I don't know if they've announced all the matches yet. I know we got the Gable Bronson Reed match happening next week. I don't know if there's any other matches announced yet. We go to our main event segment. This main event is Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, 1-on-1. And this match actually, I don't know, this was a long match. They got the entrances, and this is like the last 30 minutes, I would say, this segment took. There wasn't a winner here either. So what happened in the match was Cody Rhodes, he had gotten the upper hand on Solo Sikoa. He was about to hit the crossroads, and of course the Tongans, they came out and they fought off, or they fought Cody Rhodes. Out comes Randy Orton, out comes Kevin Owens, who's hobbling, and they even the score. They fight off the Tongans. So we are left with Solo Sikoa in the ring, staring down Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. So it's 1 versus 3. So naturally, Solo Sikoa, he's like, okay, I'm sorry. He backs into the corner. He sits down. I'm sorry, please. And then he moves his hands out of it. So it's like this. And then he moves his hands and he's laughing because he has a trick up his sleeve. And what's that trick? The Samoan Werewolf, I think, is his nickname. It's definitely a werewolf. The Tongan werewolf, Samoan. I don't know. But it is one Jacob Fatu. He first attacks Randy Orton. He super kicks Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes is next. He takes Cody Rhodes and he takes Cody Rhodes out. And now we have Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, he's seen the other two. So he has enough time to get the jump on Jacob Fatu. So he super kicks Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu no sells the super kick. He does the, if you remember how Umaga used to like absorb the punishment and then power up. Oh, Jacob Fatu really does that. He takes a super kick and slaps himself and and then he hits Kevin Owens with a clothesline. So Jacob Fatu, one man, has taken out Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. And then he takes Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is mounting a comeback. By the way, he's your world heavyweight champion. Remember that. He's mounting a comeback. He clotheslines Fatu out of the ring. Fatu lands on his feet. He, from this point, Fatu, he drags Cody Rhodes outside the ring. He does a Uranagi on the apron, puts Cody Rhodes on the table, the announce table, goes up top and splashes Cody Rhodes through the table. Again, Solo never helped. And the Tongans never helped. So this is Jacob Fatu taking out your three top baby faces. And I'm going to tell you, well, excuse me. I'm going to tell you why I have a problem with that in just a second. So why I have a problem with this? You want him to come out and take your top baby faces out by himself? Good, fine. He's a beast. He's a werewolf. I'm okay with that part of it. But the problem is, they're not going to keep that energy, if you will. Like, I don't know, he decimates he decimates your top talent, and then what's going to happen? He's going to have a match against Johnny Gargano in a few weeks, his debut match against Johnny Gargano, and he's going to have to like pull out all the stops to beat him. That's the problem we always have with these debuts. Yeah, you debut him, you make him look like a monster, but then the follow-up is he's having a competitive match against someone he shouldn't have a competitive match against. That's the problem. But for now, for 1 week, good debut. But I think that's it for, yeah, that's it for SmackDown. And as we go off the air, we have Solo and we have Fatu. They're in the ring. They're standing with their ones up. And then we have the Tongans, Toaloa, and Tamatonga. They join in. And if you look closely, they were looking at each other. It's like, did you know this was going to happen? No. I didn't know this was going to happen. So it's as if Solo did this without telling them. So maybe there's problems in the bloodline. Maybe there's going to be, before Roman comes back. By the way, Solo said that Roman's never coming back. So maybe before Roman comes back, we're going to have someone split off. Because we got to have someone join the Uso side with Roman. Got to have someone. Unless you do. So right now we would have the Usos. We have Roman Reigns on one side. On the other side, we have the Tongans. We have Solo. And now we have Jacob Fatu. So that's 4 versus 3. One addition I could see is we put Sami Zayn as the member on the other side. I don't know. That ain't gonna be. The other obvious choices would be Hikuleu, who's supposed to be on his way, or Zilla Fatu, who's also supposed to be on his way. They joined the Roman side. But I would think one of my guesses would be that Solo gets defected and he has to join Roman's side because he is, the blood of the Usos. So that would be one thing. I don't know where we go with it all, though. Let me know what you think in the comments because it is definitely something to behold. But that is Raw. That is SmackDown. We're not going to touch on the retro part of our review because I'm a solo and it just doesn't make sense to do it with one person. So we're going to go to the news. And boy, do we got some news for you today. Let me get my news pulled up. And while I'm doing that, just a reminder, hit the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. And we are going to get our news up. Boy, when I do this thing solo, we got like 1 hour when I do the solo. Both shows, 1 hour. Making some good time here. But let's talk about the news. First piece of news is from AEW. AEW has set a record. That's right, they have set a record. Now, what record is it that you might be asking? They have set a record of the lowest rating in Dynamite history. That is right. That is the record they have set. AEW Dynamite, they pulled a 502 rating, which is abysmal. Which is not good for them in the long run. Now, I know you got the people who are like, "Oh, why do you have to talk about the ratings? Why do you have to? I don't watch ratings. I watch wrestling." I know you got those people. But let me tell you why you have to think about the ratings. Why you have to watch the ratings. So on Fox local here, the Fox channel, there used to be this show. It was called Lie to Me. That show lasted 3 seasons. I liked that show. But you know what? It wasn't getting the ratings, so Fox said, no more out of you. Taken off the air. There was another show that was also on Fox. This happens a lot on Fox. Wayward Pines was another show. This was like a horror type show. I like that show. 2 seasons. Fox said, you're out of here. Well, what about NXT, right? I'm sorry. What about Netflix? This would never happen on Netflix, right? Well, there was a show on Netflix. It was called Ozark. This wasn't a horror show. This was a show that was about, like, I don't know, drug dealing. 4 seasons. Netflix said, you're out of here. So the point of this story is you have to watch the ratings because the ratings keep the show on the air. So with AEW having such a low rating, I don't know. They're also in the midst of like negotiating a deal. Not going to be good for them to have a deal and you have 500 rating. Like that's half a. We're talking about having a million rating and you can't even get 500,000. Like, don't even tell me about NXT because NXT just blew you out. They got 700,000. So it's definitely not looking good for AEW. And I don't know what you'd have to do to get this to change. Yes, Byron. Got a comment here. Go ahead and go over this comment. We're going to put you up on the screen there. We noticed something about every pay-per-view under Triple H because every pay-per-view under Triple H, there's been a surprise. And that is true. And I have noticed that every pay-per-view there's been some kind of debut or a twist or a turn or some surprise. And that's a good thing because it keeps people on their toes. AEW does that too. Every pay-per-view there's some kind of debut. We got these game changers around here. Mercedes Moné, Will Ospreay, Okada. They're supposed to be game changers. They're changing the game, all right. Changing it to a, a this abysmal rating. Now the funniest thing about this whole rating thing though is the excuses. Boy, did they have excuses. That being the AEW fan base. Oh, this. Let's run through some of the excuses that we saw on this whole thing. Oh, the rating is low because it was Juneteenth. So I guess all the black people were not watching AEW because it was Juneteenth. Not feasible. Oh, I mean on that was the other excuse. Again, what are we talking about? What was the last excuse? Oh, they didn't have the Big Bang Theory lead in. There was a Marvel movie on, which the Marvel movie was Black Panther because it was Juneteenth. Oh, they didn't have Black Panther. No one was watching Black Panther, so that's why they didn't get it. Next excuse. Oh, there was a error. This is not a real number. No, it was a real number. So yes, AEW abysmal ratings. And actually, believe it or not, I would like AEW to succeed because you got to have competition to keep your like WWE needs competition. If I can tell you like a little side thing, right? There used to be uh oh, I don't know. I forgot the name of the game, but there was two football games. There was Madden, ESPN. There was an ESPN football game. And through those times, I would say we had the best football games that we had. They take away ESPN's football game, and now there's just Madden. And now I don't know. Has Madden changed since ever? All they do is like update the rosters each year because there's no competition. The same thing would happen with WWE. If there's no competition, there's nothing to push them forward because there's no competition. So I would like to see AEW succeed here, believe it or not. But yeah, the ratings are just abysmal. If they keep getting lower, what's going to happen is they're going to be taken off the air. They're going to be sandwiched on the Discovery Plus channel in between some hunting show and reruns of that show, The Cheaters. So we don't want to see that happen. So hopefully they can pick up the ratings. I don't even know if Tony Khan. It's funny to say because he's like the owner, but I don't know if Tony Khan is the guy that can change. Like all he's worried about is just putting on bangers. Oh, we gotta have our bangers. I saw this clip today. You got like Axon Andretti and someone else, Leo Rush, and they're just like doing their little flip flop sequences. And this was from like the AEW Twitter account. And they're like, "Oh, holy shit. This is awesome. This is wrestling." That's what they're saying. And this is why the ratings are where they are. I mean, Action Andretti and Leo Rush is taking up your TV time. Now, this wasn't on Dynamite, so do put the caveat there. But come on, what are they going to do for you? But yeah, AW. Hopefully they can get the ratings back where they need to be, or at least moving in the right direction. We'll see if they bounce back next week. There won't be Juneteenth. There won't be. I guess they'll have the Big Bang Theory lead in, so maybe they can get things back on track. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and hit a like for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. All right, that is that new segment. If you're here live, sorry that you're going to hear me say that after every segment, but we chop it up, we put it on the channel. Make sure to hear it there too. But I got to say this so that when we do it on the channel, it will be there. But as we are talking about AEW, since we are on AEW, let's talk about something else that's happening amongst AEW. You know, Tony Khan, he is notable in the he loves acquiring toys, we shall say. Tony Khan loves acquiring toys, and he is in the midst, or there's rumors that he may have his biggest toy that he's ever collected. That being the name of a McMahon, Shane McMahon. Yes, there is rumors that Shane McMahon has put out feelers to go to AEW, and there is rumors that, well, at least JR, he says that it wouldn't be such a bad idea to have Shane O'Mac come into AEW. Now, as we had mentioned in the last segment, the ratings are shit. So anything you can do to turn the ratings around, maybe you want to do that. So I say let's bring in Shane McMahon. Uh, so as we last saw Shane McMahon, he was at I think it was at WrestleMania, if I want to remember correctly. He was doing that thing with the Miz and Snoop, and he blew out his quads. They couldn't stand, and then Snoop had to ad lib and help him out with the segment. That was the last time we saw Shane McMahon, so I guess he's wanting to get back in the ring. Why that's not with WWE, I don't know. Maybe they don't want him back. But yeah, he has put out feelers to go to AEW, and that would be, I think it would be a good idea to have Shane McMahon in AEW, but not as a wrestler. I would think, I mean, honestly, if anything is coming into AEW, it should be someone who's going to yield the pen and write better shows and get the ratings up. Someone who's going to bring in stories, because stories are what's going to bring in the crowd. You're right now we're booking for the hardcore fan, and clearly the hardcore fan is not watching. So you got to go to the casual fan. It's always about the casual fan. I know people don't like to hear that because it's their AEW, but you gotta get the casuals. And that would sound like Vince Russo. But you get the casuals in, that'll bring the rating up, and then you can get your TV deal. And then once you get your TV deal, I don't know. Then you can go back to the shitter of ratings after that. But but I don't know. I'm back on the ratings here. But that's what Shane McMahon can do for AEW. He comes in, he can bring a story. And I would think for the time in WWE, he can write compelling television. Maybe he can't. Maybe he can. I mean, he did Raw Underground. You imagine if that was in AEW Raw Underground? Call it AEW Ground. Ha! That'd be funny. But it might work. Crazy enough to work. Something has to change. They have to do something different than they're doing now, because what they're doing now clearly is not working. So I don't know. Put me on the side of bringing Shane McMahon into AEW. I say it's a go. But let me know what you think in the comments. And hit a like for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the next video. Again, if you're here live, I know that's weird, but it'll all make sense. My live crowd. Okay, and then finally, our next piece of story. And it goes down to the third brand, that being NXT. So NXT, they just saw so they have a battle royal. They have a battle royal to determine a number one contender for Trick Williams' title. And there was a tease that there was going to be some TNA talent possibly showing up. Now, one TNA talent that is major popular right now, which I don't completely get, but his name is Joe Hendry. He is like one of the most over TNA talents there is right now. And he showed up on NXT. He was the first entrant into the Battle Royal. Well, no, sorry. He was the first entrant that actually got an entrance in the Battle Royal. He said some stuff on the mic, and then he was actually the first one that was eliminated. He was eliminated by Kazarian, I believe. Kind of got jumped by the whole locker room, but I think Kazarian was finally the one that put him over the ropes. But the takeaway from all this is WWE, they uploaded the clip of Joe Hendry debuting in NXT, and then that became the most liked piece of content that they've put out since WrestleMania. At the time of looking, or last I looked, it was at like 4 million views and a couple, I think it was like 1 million likes or so. Let's check now. We've got time. All right. So yeah, at the time of this, we're at 17 million views. And this is just on X. And then we have over 100,000 likes, 103,000 likes. So that became the most liked piece of content WWE's put out since WrestleMania. So I guess we can all become believers in Joe Hendry. I I don't know anything about him, but good for him. From what I saw, uh, I can say I was impressed because if you know anything about me, I'm a mic guy. Like what you do on the sticks is more important than what you do in the ring for me. So he worked the crowd pretty good. He tried to get his little Joe Hendry thing over, but it didn't work because people didn't really know him. But good for him. Good for NXT. They massacred AEW in the ratings because of such. And the TNA partnership seems to be doing gangbusters for both NXT and WWE as a whole. But that's going to do it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit a like for the algorithm, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video. I know, again, I'm going to say it every time, live crowd. I know that's weird that you hear that, but it's what you got to do in YouTube land. And I think that's all the stories I have. I am out of stories. You guys got anything you want to talk about? Questions? Let me know in the chat there. If not, we're going to call this thing a night. We're going to Oh, we got nothing here. Who do you guys think is gonna win Money in the Bank? You got nothing? Nothing. All right. Well, in that case, I'm gonna get on out of here. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching. Again, hit the like button for the algorithm. Subscribe button if you haven't already. Next week we should be back in full force. We're getting closer to Money in the Bank, and might start doing some watch alongs, some let's plays. I think it'll be good to hang out and watch the show live. But if you agree with anything, let us know in the comments below. If you disagree with anything, let us know in the comments below. One more time, like button, subscribe button. And until next time, Top Guy out.